Poland there was a great anti-Semitism. There were 3.5 million Jews living in Poland. And we experienced it every day. Somehow, it was built in, since they were kids, the Polish people, they hate Jews. Had to do with the religion, probably with the church, and I don't know who else to blame. The fact was, we were discriminated in every field of life, physically and mentally. There were plenty of times where Jews were beaten, some of them were killed, and Jewish people cannot go to university, excludes very, very few. So we experience it all the time. For me, I didn't look Jewish. Still, when I went home at night about 11 o'clock, my eyes were more in the back of myself than in the front. I was afraid being attacked because a good friend of mine, actually a good friend of my father's parents, they had a son my age. He went home, that was about a year before the war, lived in the same street where I lived. He was attacked at night by several Poles, and they knifed him to death. So, in the beginning of 1940, they put us in a ghetto, an area where all the Jews had to go in there. And in the ghetto was miserable. Number one, there was nothing but the heat with, it was very cold. The first 2 winters, thousands and thousands of people died. I lost my younger sister. She was married. She was older than me, but I had 2 sisters. They're both older. She was the younger one. She was married with a child, maybe a year, 2 years old. They all died, she and their husband and the baby, from cold and hunger in the ghetto. In the beginning, January of 45, they sent us to Buchenwald. Going to Buchenwald, they took us in on freight cattle cars, packed. You couldn't move around. No windows. There was one place on top with the little bars to get air in. We traveled to Buchenwald for 3 days and 3 nights. Whenever we stopped, Polish youths and older one yelled in, if you have any jewelry, throw it out, they're going to kill you anyway. That time I knew already about the gas chambers. That they're gassing people and killed the Jews. When we arrived in Buchenwald, there were Nazis, soldiers, with dogs. There was a field, out in the field, kept us in the field, and there was also a building. And they took in groups into the building. I didn't see nobody coming out. And I was sure this is the end of it. I was just thinking how long it's going to take me to be gassed, losing my consciousness. So I kept myself pushing back and back and back. I was practically from the last couple groups to go in. Finally, they took us into the building. It was a big building. They shaved a head. They gave us showers and took out in the back. The back was the concentration camp, Buchenwald. That was the oldest concentration camp, the first one Hitler built when he came to power. And we put us in a barrack. There was bunk beds, no mattresses, top on the bottom. There was I think 6 people on top, 6 people on the bottom. If one moved, everybody had to move around. You couldn't move one way to the other. I was there for about a week. I heard that they registered boys who were still strong enough to work someplace. I went in, the doctor checked me over, gave me a big overcoat in big boots, heavy boots. It was like somebody would give me $1 billion. I was standing that night at the appeal outside there, everybody was jealous, you know. So I was close with 2 other boys there. We were together. After about, I believe it was 10 days altogether, I was in Buchenwald. We walked out from there. They took out 200 of us. When I walked out, I said, I felt I'm going to survive this war. That's the feeling I had. Going out from the place in Buchenwald. So they took us 200 in a freight car also, but kept us reasonable humane. There was a German soldier made a fire inside in the car, a little portable. And we traveled, I think, for about 2 days. We came into a place, the area in Germany is Thüringen. And it's all mountains, all with rocks. The Allies couldn't even bomb that place. Made no sense. And they built inside the material to what used the power to shoot out the V-1, V-2 rockets, what they bombarded England with. There was 100,000 Germans working there. And we did construction work. When we arrived as a camp over there, was already about 500 or 600 people, no Jews, from all over the world. Yugoslavs, Czechs, Australians, English. They gave us a separate building for the Jews, 200, and it was a regular bunk bed. One slept on top, one on the bottom. It was like a hotel compared to what we went through. So every morning we went about 2 miles to that place. Like one day they brought a railroad car loaded with gravel. So German Nazi gave me a shovel. I should empty by myself the whole thing. That's what I had to do. And we moved. Came into a place, it was another concentration camp. It was Dachau and Aller. They close by one near the other. We stopped in Aller. They took out the Jews separately. I don't know what happened there, where they took the other prisoners. And we went into that, came into a big hall with big tile floors. And there were dead bodies laying all over. I couldn't practically walk. I had to walk over bodies, one with the other. They kept us there 1 or 2 days. And back on the train, but a different train. There was separate wagons, boys and girls, all Jews, several hundred. And they started to travel. We traveled and we traveled, then we stopped again, we couldn't go no place. Then one day Red Cross cars came along and they gave us packages. It was very good. We had a feeling that something is going to happen, good. And that was the end of April already. In about I thought it was the 29th of April, when the American Panzers came in tanks. We were still in the railroad cars, but standing in one place, you couldn't move no place. And I got liberated at that time by the American Army. It was close near Munich. Now, when I was liberated, we tried to go into Munich. I hardly couldn't walk. I had to hold down to buildings walking. I was very weak. So after a while, I don't know why, they took me into a hospital. And most of the people had typhus. And that's what I got, the typhus over there. And I nearly died right after the war. It was going on for about maybe a few weeks, in the outskirts of Munich. I started feeling better and better, and I got out. I found out my younger brother is in the outskirts of Munich. He lives in a house over there, and I went over there. I was with my younger brother together.